The Etruscans, the first civilization of Rome. There were 7 kings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The Etruscans were very advanced. The Romans learned many things from them, such as crafts and metalworks.
The Romans also learned how to build arches and stole their symbol of power, the faces.
The mythical beginning of Rome started with the 2 brothers Romulus and Remus, who were raised by a she-wolf. Then Romulus killed Remus, and then Romulus started Rome.
The Republic of Rome lasted over 500 years. There were 2 groups of people, the upper class, the patricians, and the lower class, the plebeians.
Even though the plebeians were poor, they were still represented in the government by the tribune. The assembly was made up of Roman citizens.
Patricians elected a senate of 300 people, which was the main body of government. They also elected 2 consuls, who were like kings, but 2 of them, because they wanted no more kings!
The Senate also elected the quaestor, who was in charge of money. The Senate also elected the praetor, which was the person of justice and sometimes the military. They also elected the dictator, who was in charge in times of war for 6 months, and the censor, who was the person who took the census.
Not 1, not 2, but a whooping 3 Punic Wars. Number 1.
While Rome was fighting Carthage, one of Carthage's abandoned warships washed up on Rome's shore. Roman engineers copied the designs and built hundreds of other ships. They sailed to Carthage and fought for 20 years, but no one won.
Number 2.
Hannibal was a weird quack who decided to attack a city far away. To get there, he'd only have to sail a few days, but instead he decided to cross the Alps unguided. When he reached the other side, most of his elephants and troops had dwindled and died. From 40 to 2, alone and destitute, when he conquered all he could, Rome still stood, and untouched and untried. Then he went home and committed suicide.
Number 3.
Carthage was no more.
This page covers 100 years of Roman history, featuring Sparta the slave freer, the first triumvirate, and Julius Caesar.
Spartacus was a gladiator in training. He didn't like the harsh conditions, so he told his buddies, hey, let's get out of here. So they all rounded up some stuff and went into the kitchen. They found pot lids, cheese graters, and egg beaters, and maybe a few steak knives, and they tried to get out of there. But on their way, they said, hey, look, a weapon wagon, and got all their weapons and charged out of there. They were on the run for 2 years, and at the end of it, they had 100,000 people on their side. When Rome finally caught up to them, they were destroyed.
The first triumvirate was made up of 3 men who didn't like ruling with each other.
Julius Caesar surfaced as a sole leader of Rome because the other 2 mysteriously died. He was a strong military leader, gave grain to the poor, put his face on lots of coins, and made himself dictator for life. But he ended up being stabbed by a group of senators led by 2 of his buddies.
The start of the Roman Empire.
Caesar Augustus called a census, so Mary and Joseph came to Bethlehem to be counted.
While they were there, it came time for Mary to have a baby. So they went to all the inns, but there was no room. Finally, one innkeeper said, I have a stable. Follow me. When they got there, Jesus was born.
Shepherds came to see him after being told of his birth by angels. Wise men came to worship him with gifts. Herod, king of Judea, saw him as a threat and tried to kill him, but did not succeed. Jesus lived his whole life in the Roman Empire.
When Jesus was 33, he was crucified on a Roman cross under false pretenses.
The Jews had to ask permission to crucify him because Judea was a Roman province.
They buried him in a tomb and sealed it with a giant boulder. After 3 days, boom! He was back from the dead.
The Julian Claudian emperors, Tiberius the Wimp. Tiberius became emperor after Augustus. As soon as he became emperor, others in the court started plotting against him, which worried him. He couldn't make decisions. After a while, he left and spent the rest of his dull life in his holiday home. Caligula, the mad and cruel emperor.
Caligula got his nickname from soldiers who named him after his miniature army sandals. After he became emperor, he fell ill and was never the same man again. He treated his horse like royalty. He raised the taxes and revived the treason trials. He was murdered after 4 years as emperor.
Claudius, the best of the bunch.
Claudius was a short man with embarrassing habits. He was always sick until he became emperor. While he was emperor, he invaded Britain, abolished the treason trials, and dealt with Caligula's murderers. He died from eating a poisonous mushroom.
Nero, the egomaniac.
Nero was a fat man with red spots all over his body. He would usually dress in a bathrobe with a scarf and no shoes. He tried multiple times to kill his mother. After the fire of Rome had burned for 9 days, he built his own pleasure house on the ruins of Rome and blamed the Christians for the fire. He was about to be killed by his soldiers. He told his servant to stab him.
The Flavian Amphitheater. Ancient Rome was known for its great building accomplishments. One of the great wonders of the ancient world that still exists today is the Roman Colosseum, even though its original name was Flavian Amphitheater.
Gladiators were the rock stars of the Colosseum. There were many different styles of gladiator combat. When a gladiator was about to be defeated, he would ask for mercy. The winning gladiator would look to the emperor, who would give the thumbs up or the thumbs down, which would determine the fate of the losing gladiator.
The Colosseum had a retractable roof to keep the spectators shaded from the sun, and the floor was even flooded at times to create naval battle scenes. Sadly, thousands of people and animals died in the Colosseum as entertainment for the people of Rome.
However, in 404 AD, a Christian monk named Telemachus jumped into the arena to stop a fight to the death between two gladiators and was killed for his efforts. Because of his sacrifice, Emperor Honorius banned fights to the death, and the bloodshed of the Colosseum Games was stopped.
Rumble, rumble, rumble.
Oh, that dreaded Vesuvius is gonna blow!
No, it's just another earthquake.
Oh, it's not an earthquake.
Just wait it out, you'll be fine.
Oh, you wait it out. I'm leaving. Oh, that dreaded Vesuvius!
Hundreds of years later.
Giuseppe Fiorelli, the famous archaeologist that was the greatest, yeah. Oh, look! A helmet! Haha! Hey, it looks pretty Pompeiish. That's cool. I guess I should do some more digging. Look! A house! 2 people! Oh my goodness! I think this was Pompeii! I should throw a party, 'cause Giuseppe Fiorelli was the greatest archaeologist that ever was born! Yeah, yeah. Da-dum, da-dum.
Giuseppe Fiorelli discovered the buried city of Pompeii, which provided us with incredible information about the daily life in ancient Rome.